Okay, test 7 review, part 3, number 12. All right, so we have 2x squared minus 4 minus 4x squared minus 2x minus 6. So what we are doing here is combining like terms pretty much, but we have a negative here. So we're going to insert 1 here, and we're going to distribute the second parentheses by negative 1 to all 3 terms. So I'm going to rewrite my equation. I'm going to put up here because the way I have room. 2x squared minus 4. So first one we didn't do anything to. Now negative 1 times 4 is just negative 4x squared. And negative times negative is positive, so 2x. And then we have negative 1 times negative 6 plus 6. Now we could go straight to combining like terms. So I like to make little shapes, so I'm going to put a circle around the x squared. So same power. That's only the way you could combine the numbers. So, and see how I circled the sign with it. So I know 2 minus 4 is negative 2x squared. Okay, we don't have another x, so we'll just bring that down, 2x. And then lastly, we have the numbers. Negative 4 plus 6 is just plus 2. So that's our actual answer for number 12. Now, let me highlight it real quick. All right, let's do number 13. Number 13, see that plus here? So we could just start combining like terms right there. We don't have to distribute anything. So put these two together because these are square powers. Then these two will go together, and then the numbers. I'll put a little square on the numbers. See how I'm taking the signs with them? This way I know what to do. So 2 plus 4 is 6x squared. Then we have 3 plus 6 plus 9x. And then lastly, negative 4 plus 5 is just plus 1. So that's our answer for number 13. All right. All right, number 14. We are going to multiply polynomial. So we have 6x plus 3, x minus 1. Now, there's a couple methods. One's a box method. There's FOIL also. I'm going to show you the box method real quick. And on another piece of paper, I might do FOIL. All right, so I'm going to make my box. All right. Now, I usually put a little star here. That means I'm not going to use that square. Okay, so I got my first equations. And 6x plus 3. So I'm going to put 6x right here and plus 3 over here. And then I have an x and minus 1. Now let's say you would have put this x here and minus 1 here and 6x here and plus 3 here. That's okay. You could do it that way too. No big deal. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cover the bottom. That way it doesn't confuse you. Actually, pencil might be better or something because that was a little big. Let me try this one. All right. That way you don't get confused. Now, I like you to put powers on here. Make life easier. All right. So, and a 1. So 6 times 1, you can multiply all the numbers, but add the exponents. So 6 times 1 is just 6. And then x times x is x squared. All right. And then you're going to do 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. And do not forget the x. That goes with it. All right, we are done with line 1. Then I would like you to cover that one. That way you know you are done with it. Then I'm going to do positive 3 times 1 is just plus 3. See, I'm writing that plus there because it'll help you out in a minute. And then don't forget your x. And then lastly, positive 3 times negative 1 gives you negative 3. Now, last step. So technically, you are done to the answer. You got your answer 1. Middle, you will combine and answer 3. So we could pre-write it already, 6x squared. And I could put my last part, minus 3. So what we are working on is the middle. So we're going to combine them. I'm going to highlight them. That way you know what you're combining. Now, anytime you do box method, it's always these 2 boxes you're combining. Now, combining like terms means you're adding or subtracting. Do not multiply the steps because the mistakes I've been seeing, people are multiplying. All right, so you could do 3 minus 6, or you could do negative 6 plus 3. So either or is going to give you negative 3x. And guess what? Finished. All right, I did say I would show you FOIL also for the students who cannot get a box method down. All right, let me just get a different piece of paper because I'm running out of room. This way, all right, so FOIL. So all you do is write out your equation, plus 3 and x minus 1. So it's called FOIL. Not many people like this way, but I will teach either way, whatever works. So we're going to multiply first term with the first term and first term with the second term. So let's do that first. So 6 times, put a 1 there, makes life easier. 6 times 1 is just 6. And x times x, x squared. So you're done with this first term. Then you're going to multiply 6 times negative 1, negative 6x. All right, you are done with these first one. Now you have this term here, second term. So you're going to multiply that with your first term in your second parenthesis and the second one. So it's kind of like distributing twice. All right, so positive 3 times 1 is plus 3x. And 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Now also, you're almost done. You have 6x squared, but you want to combine these two terms like we did in the box. See the box right here? It's same thing pretty much. Only thing is with the box, you write out more things. Here you do more in your head. So using more brain power. All right, and same deal, 3x minus 3. So either way will work for you. And that is your answer. Let me highlight the answers. Okay. All right, that 2 did not go with that problem. All right. Let's keep on going. Number 15. So 15 questions mean division. Now there's 3 different ways. Desmos, the long way, and the shortcut. So I will show you the long way real quick. And then I'll do the shortcut. So you could see that. And you could pick what you want. And there's also Desmos way. You just type in the equations and read the graph. All right, let me use this piece of paper. All right, let's do the long way. This will help students who don't use Desmos and for pre-calculus students because it still follows you all the way on to calculus, how to divide polynomials, trinomials. All right, so our equation was 8x squared plus 2x minus 1 over 2x plus 1. So this is the long way. Now there's, in pre-calculus also we have different other ways, which actually I like better, but we'll get to that when I do pre-calculus videos or calculus. All right, so what we're gonna put this on the inside, 8x squared plus 2x minus 1. And then we're gonna be dividing by 2x plus 1, okay? All right, so what we're gonna look at is our first term here and over here. So what times what gives me 8? I think 4. So let's do 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Good. Now we have an x here and x squared here. So what times what will give you x squared? I think x. So let's try this. Now we're gonna test this theory. 4 times 2 is 8. Good. And x is x squared. Good. Now what we did to this term, we still have to multiply to the second. 4x times 1 is just plus 4x. Okay. Now, anything like in regular division, we got to subtract this whole thing. Now, before we do that, I'm going to distribute the negative 1. Let's put 1 here. So negative times positive is negative. So this is my new signs. And then negative times positive is negative. So I'm going to highlight my overridden signs. That's what I'm going to be using. So 8 minus 8 is just 0. Good, so it cancels. And then 2 minus 4 gives us negative 2x. Okay. Now we're going to bring the last term down, minus 1. Okay, so now we got to find what a number. It's usually a number, because if you have an x, next one follows number. If you had it to the third power here, this would have been x squared. So it depends which power n, but that's later on. You don't need this in Algebra 1. Algebra 2 and so on will have higher powers to divide, but it's similar steps. All right, so now Let's test what times what would give me 2. Looks like 1, so I'm going to go with 1, and let's see the sign. If I do, I want to end up with the same thing. So I want to get a negative here. So negative times positive will give me negative. So I'm going to use negative. Okay, so negative 1 times 2x is negative 2x. Why one same signs? Because when I bring the negative over, I'll flip my signs. And then 1 times 1 is just negative 1. So this is what I want to have. I have the same signs because part 2, you got to still subtract this, right? So then you're going to distribute that, negative 1. So new signs, negative times negative is positive, and negative says negative is positive. So that's my new signs I'm going to be using. And guess what? 2 plus 2 gives me 0. And then negative 1 plus 1 is 0 also. That means the remainder is 0. Okay, this is the long way. Now, there is a shortcut. It only works when the remainder is 0. It's the only way it works. So let me show that to you real quick. I'm going to go back to this page. So you could use that in this problem because we know remainder is 0. But even if you didn't know that, no big deal. Try the shortcut and test it in decimals. So I'm going to write out my equation. Okay. Now I'm going to highlight a few things for you. So I'm going to highlight this first part and that one because that's going to go together, and my last part, negative 1 and plus 1. Okay. So usually I do this in my head, 8 divided by 2 and 2 minus 1, but let me write it out for you real quick. So let's put it here. 8x squared, over you see what I did, over 2x. And then the second part, negative 1 plus 1. Okay, so 8 divided by 2 is 4. 2 minus 1 is just x to the first power. And then the second part, negative 1 plus 1, is just negative 1. Guess what? This is your answer. And let's just check if that's what we got on the last page. Yes, we did. 4x minus 1 was our answer. 4x minus 1. See how shorter that was? A lot shorter. All right, that concludes number 15. All right, let's do 16. So on 16, you have a 4x in the front. Then you have 2x squared minus 5x plus x minus 3x squared minus 4. So all we're doing is distributing. So we could break this up to 2 problems. Problem 1, problem 2. So all you're going to do is distribute. All right, 4 times 2 is 8. And you could put a power here because 1 plus 2 is 3. My bad. I always give you the answer while I'm asking for a question. Whew. Anyway, so 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. And then 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay, this time I didn't give you the answer. Anyway, so second part, I'm going to put negative 3x because positive times negative is still negative. And x would be x to the third power because you're multiplying, but you're adding exponents. 1 plus 2 is 3. And then the last part, you got negative 4. And when you add these, x squared. Now you are not done. You still have 4 terms. So you want to combine like terms. So here's the answer for that one. Let me do this. Okay. So I have a third power and a third power. So I'm going to combine these two. And I'll combine these two. So a minus 3 is just 5. X to the third power. And then negative 20 minus 4 is just going to be negative 24 to the x to the second power. Okay, and that's all you could do in this problem, number 16. All right, I'll do 17, and then 18 through 20, I'm going to do a part 4 video. That way these videos don't get too long. So this is the last one on this video. And then, because on part 4, I'm going to do it by hand and decimals. This way you have 2 different ways in one video. Okay, on this one, factor the following polynomial. So first we're looking for GCF, greatest common factor. Let me do this to separate these. Okay. So I'm going to put my division sign. And I'm going to look, what is my greatest common factor at 5 and 15? I'm not even going to look at the negative right now. So I'm going to go with 5. Because 5 divided by 5 is just 1, and 15 divided by 5 is 3. All right, now I'm looking at my x squares. So the greatest common factor means the smallest x. So there's x in both, so I'm going to do that. Now, for my final answer, I'm going to see it. I'm going to look at these two. See it twice, write it once. So I'm just going to write it one time, so that takes care of the bottom. Then I need my parentheses, what's left over. So leftovers going inside. So these, 5 divided by 5 is just 1. You don't have to put 1 there, but if you want, go ahead. And then 2 minus 1, because it's the power here, it's just an x. That's my first one done. Now negative will stay, because we didn't have anything else negative. 15 divided by 5 is just 3. And then x's will cancel because 1 minus 1 is x to the 0, which is 1. Our final answer is 5x to the third. Okay, this concludes my video 3. All right, thank you.